and welcome to a new episode of Open Talk. In our show today, we have two very special guests, and they will talk to us about the real estate sector in Bahrain. Arif Hijras, Chairman of Bahrain Property Development Association, and Yasser Al-Sharrah, Chairman of Blue Water Investment. Welcome to our program, Mr. Arif and Mr. Yasser. To start with, can you tell me how important is the real estate sector?
It is a very important sector, being the second biggest industry after the banking sector in Bahrain. It linked to other 16 industries. So if this business boom, you have other 16 industries boom with it. What makes it unique in Bahrain? It's a new industry. I would say it's became as industry 16 years, which is a new. What makes it unique in Bahrain? We have beautiful project, real ones, based on real demand.
So you told me you have 16. What are the 16 industries that it affects?
See, if you have any project, the contractors will work, the aluminum factories will work, the cement factories, the ACs, the furniture, the everything related to construction. So this is like very important, especially for the medium companies.
Of course. Mr. Yasser, can you tell me about, I believe you have an investment company. Can you tell me how important it is to see businessmen like you investing in such kind of companies and investing in Bahrain in such kind of projects?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us here. The Bahrain has a kind of friendly environment, friendly business environment, and that's encouraged us, as Mr. Arif said. It's about started about 16 years ago, which we started about 18 around that time. And we had a lot of opportunities. So we thought to take these opportunities and get in. As the time going, the opportunity is getting tighter now, and we might talk later about the situations.
Yeah.
But the start was great.
So since you talked about the association, the demand of establishing this association, can you tell me how do you find the demand of the association and how do you attract people to join you guys?
Okay, well, let me tell you why we started BABDA, Bahrain Property Development Association. There was need for laws and regulation for this industry. Back then when we started, we did not have identity. Being the second largest, no identity, no laws, no regulation. So before we go and approach the government and ask them for those laws, we have to be united. So we called all the developers, which some of them they don't even know each other, and we decided, okay, this is important sectors. We can't go to the government as individual and ask him for laws. So we established this government, and the main purpose back then was to ask the government for the laws and regulation and work with the government, and even the government can talk to us. Before, you see lots of individual companies, let's say Diyar al-Muharraq, Durrat al-Bahrain. We have 24 companies in Bahrain, so the government, they cannot go and talk to each one individually, especially if they are in the process of making those laws coming to reality. So the main reason was to have this identity, or let's say umbrella that covers all the, that is one of things. The other thing was the need of the exhibitions. It was booming time, lots of products were there, and we need to talk to each other, and there was no exhibition back then. At some stage before we established it, but when the market went slow, no one was willing to do this exhibition, and we came with a creative idea, which I call it boutique exhibition. We did it in Seif Mall and City Center Mall to attract the end user, especially our brother in Saudi Arabia, being they are one of the important end user in Bahrain for those products. Third thing, we wanted to train Bahrainis. This is a new industry. We did not have any Bahraini back then to be in this line. So we signed with Dubai Real Estate or Dubai RERA, and we brought some instructor to Bahrain, and we have many people who graduated either with certificates or with courses. And we feel proud that we added value to this industry as BABDA.
Well, that's very important. Would you like to add any?
Just one point.
Sure.
The main reason as well for establishing BABDA, it was the absence of any kind of role of Chamber of Commerce, which they're supposed to represent us. So they were absolutely absent. So we feel there is a need for some establishment to represent investors and developers.
So now with RERA being there in Bahrain, how does that help the real estate sector?
Since Mr. Yasser mentioned Bahrain Chamber of Commerce, unfortunately, if they have a committee which in charge of real estate, but is not active, I would say. I was called a few years back. I attended one meeting, and unfortunately, I saw it, not serious, and there is no. I don't have time. Sorry to waste it. So same time, I left and I submitted my resignation. I'm sure if Chamber of Commerce committees were active, you would not see half of those associations. All those associations should be represented in the Chamber of Commerce. But when you go there, you don't see anybody talk on your behalf. You just go with your colleagues and establish the associations. Back to your questions about RERA. Being, as I said, the second biggest industry, there was no single law or regulation for this industry. So RERA, and we were asking for RERA from day one, and we went to Dubai and we had a couple of meetings. We, as members, we visited Dubai, they visited us, and we were pushing the government for those laws. And fortunately it's done now, and unfortunately it took so long. But we are happy now. I think RERA is the regulatory body that represents the industry. So we have confidence. We can ask investors to come to Bahrain now. Previously, we could not ask them because we did not have a single law. Now, we proudly says we have laws, we have regulation. All the rights are protected and regulated. And I think the real estate business will be much better now with those laws and regulation being.
So basically, you can attract more people to invest in Bahrain in this sector.
Of course, any investors, international, I'm talking about international investors, would not come if you don't have the laws or regulation.
Of course,
and we could not even go to invite them because the first question will ask, okay, we're willing to come to invest. Bahrain is a small and beautiful, and lots of people want to come to Bahrain, especially from the GCC country and our brother in Saudi Arabia. But with not having laws and regulation, it's very, very hard. It's going to be very hard to convince them to come and invest in Bahrain.
And now, with this, it's a great step. It's a great initiative.
It is a victory. I think this is a parade for the real estate industry.
And it was
March 1.
March 1st. It was announced. So tell me what are the other ways that we can attract international investors in Bahrain?
Having done the new law and the regulation and RERA, which I still think it's too early to evaluate. As a start, it's great. We are 100%. We needed rules, regulations to avoid what happened in the near history, which is the stall projects. Some investors, they lost the money. So we lost the trust of especially the GCC investors, the small investors, Saudis, Kuwaitis. We lost the trust. But now we can tell them, you can come back, you are well protected. But still, we need to wait and see for the RERA to do their job. We should not pressure them now.
It's
They
step
have-
by step, basically.
Yes, because they have to write everything from scratch. So fairly, we have to give them time. And personally, I'm optimistic. How to attract, as I said, this rules, regulations, RERA, in my opinion, this is the half job only. We need the other half, which is all the modern economics having it. The bankruptcy law.
Okay.
We don't have it now. So the investors are not protected. Now we worked on the buyers, which is the small investors. They are protected now. We need to protect the big investors.
Okay.
How can we bring them? First, they will ask about these laws. Okay, real estate, you are fine. But what about investors in the factories? And we need the bankruptcy law. We need it urgently.
The government the government is serious, to be honest with you, to upgrade and to attract investors through EDB, through Chamber of Commerce. We see it. Things are, there's serious measures and serious movement. We see it different than before. Before it was a slow, but now I think, and they have been attracting for the past 2 years. We see lots of company, and thank for EDB, thank for Ministry of Commerce. They have been traveling, introducing Bahrain. As I said, Bahrain has opportunities, not fully utilized, not fully promoted, not fully marketed. I think we need to strengthen the marketing and the promotion to Bahrain. And we need to make things easier. Things are easy, but still there is chance to make things easier. One of the bottleneck, I would say, the causeway. If you make it easy, I think yesterday they opened another 12 new cabins, which is good. But we need to use technology to ease the traffic on the causeway. People now, when they think of the causeway, they think, oh, I'll wait 1, 2, maybe sometimes 3 hours. If this causeway issue gets solved, you will see everything is flourishing and booming in Bahrain. Because as I say, the demand is there, the market is there, the recipe is there. It just need to work. We have to work harder on opening up or make things much easier.
So, in your opinion, where do you see Bahrain in the 2030 vision?
It is a great vision, and thank for the government, and a special thank to the Crown Prince for that one. But I think we have to work harder to make it happening even before 2030.
So, can you tell me, how can we have a lot of youth out there? How can you attract youth to be a part of this? And whether it's investments, whether it's studying to be a part of the sector, how can you? What message would you like to give the youth?
The youth are the future of Bahrain. They should be led, and someone has to take care of them from the. As I told you, this industry is new. Unfortunately, started with no Bahrainis. We have to bring some professional trainers or institute to certify them to work on this. If you see this, I would say 95% of the sectors are non-Bahrainis, because it's a new, and because we don't have Bahrainis who have the train or the degrees in this. So, but recently I have seen a few people are going into this, because this is a highly paid sector and very interesting sector. So I think with time it's coming.
Of course, I'm sure it will.
Well, we have to start with education first. We have to start from the base.
From the base, okay.
I cannot teach somebody who's already 25 years old, graduated from the university, to shift him from what he studied. We have to create a base from the school. And I wish.
So So it's saying that can the association provide something for example, programs for schools, whether it's private or public schools?
See, we did that when there was nobody there. We did, as I told you, training, courses, training, certificates. But now it is the responsibility of RERA. And I believe RERA, they do have this in their plan to train Bahrainis and certify them to be professional in this sector. Whether you are a real estate agent or you are a developer or you are a sales in the sales. I think RERA will play a great role in introducing and flourishing this sector. And it is their responsibilities. I have seen their program. They have a fantastic program, but it's a new baby born. And as we talk today, RERA is 8 days old. So I think let's give them some time and they will do a great job for Bahrain.
Inshallah, inshallah. So tell me about, I believe you have worked on Diyar Muharraq. Did you face difficulties when being a part of Diyar Muharraq?
Well, I will write a book about Diyar Muharraq. I think I faced the most challenging, interesting, challenging in Diyar Muharraq. Diyar Muharraq is a project, I don't think it will happen again. It's the biggest project in Bahrain. When I came, it was seabed, and I have dredgers, and I have to work on the master plan. I went through lots of challenges. And as I says, I learned a lot from Diyar. I wish I can transfer this knowledge to a younger generation. I learned the hard way, and I think I injected my blood in Diyar Muharraq, being there for 9.5 years. But we feel proud, or I feel proud that I was lucky to participate in such great big project, and I call it Great Planned Community and Master Plan. Unfortunately, most of Bahrain was not designed or built on a master plan, unfortunately. But I think Diyar, we draw a high standard of how a new cities or communities should be built. Everything well studied, well challenged, well designed. So I think, and I remember we won international prize on the master plan of Diyar Muharraq. And as once, inshallah, it's done, people will appreciate, and I hope they pray for me.
Inshallah, inshallah. So, Mr. Yasser, can you tell me about projects that you have worked on in Bahrain?
We worked initially some projects in Amwaj as sub-developer, of course, because Usus company is the main developer. We worked some projects. We were focusing on luxury initially, in 2005, 2006. Then after 2008, about the financial crisis, we shifted our direction to the low cost and affordable actually, okay. Yeah. And that's what we worked on. We worked in Amwaj, few projects in SAR, but all residential. I never approached the commercial or admin, because I always believe I should target the end user, which are those demanding to stay. And until now, I'm focusing on the same, low cost, affordable, and we're doing well in that.
Oh, that's good, alhamdulillah.
See, Bahrain, I think we are lucky, as I always say, Bahrain is small and beautiful, and there is real project based on real demand. Still, with the slowdown of the market, we have demand, especially today's market is affordable market. So the demand is there. Just the market need to be incentivized. Now it is the government role, or they have to play this role to incentivize the market. By one of them, they just introduced the infrastructure fees, which is the 12 dinar. I think they should, and they are, I think, reconsidering that one, because one of the things you have to do to incentivize the market, to make things easier and to reduce the fees. They put this 12 dinar, I think, in the wrong timing. When the market was excellent, they should have applied it, but when the market went very slow, they put it and they made the market slower. I believe there is some, or I hope there is some committees studying to adjust either by cancelling or reducing the 12 dinar. And that will play big role for the developers and the end users. This is how you incentivize the market now.
Well, would you like to say any last words to our viewers when it comes to investing, since you guys have been in this field for a long period of time?
See, return on investment, I think Bahrain one of the best countries regionally and internationally. What you get here, return on investment, is very attractive. So we would like to invite all the investors to come and work in Bahrain, because things are easier and the return on investment is better, whether you want to rent or you want to sell. I don't know if Mr. Yasser has something to add.
Actually, it's a bit different. We need to, before we ask the investors to come, we need to consider, I don't know, here in Bahrain it's a bit sensitive to talk about tax, but I prefer capital gain tax rather than the fees. Now, the real estate sector, full of fees. The last one is 12 BD, which we know, we understand the government situation. We completely understand. But you are asking me to pay fees before I even start, before I started. So many fees. I believe it's capital gain tax we don't mind to pay, because when you make profit, you don't mind to pay 25%, 20% of your profit. But the fees is a big obstacle on that. And I really hope they reconsider it in some way. Because 12 BD is a lot per square meter. It's a lot.
We as private sector understand the situation of the government. It's our country and we want to help. But we felt it was done without consulting the private sector or without further studies. I want to thank today His Highness, His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, for the initiative he took in RERA. Today we see first time government body led by private and public people. As we are on the board of RERA, we have people from the private, we have people from the public sector. They share and they discuss and they take decision.
So basically there is equality between the private and the public.
It's partnership. I wish this partnership that done in RERA could be done in other
institutes, organizations?
No, other ministries.
Okay.
I'm talking about the service ministries, municipality, electricity, urban planning, because always the public-private partnership will add great value and will enhance and will draw a high standard of we will be on the same frequency. Of course it will. So my message, we would like to participate in the decision as public identity.
Any last message, Mr. Yasser?
No, simple as that. Bahrain is great. Bahrain is welcoming country. The people are welcoming for the foreign investors, and we have some experience from Saudis and Kuwaitis, and we had a great deal, and we need to bring them back again.
Once again, we had with us Arif Hijrus, Chairman of Bahrain Property and Development Association, and Yasser Al-Sharrah, Chairman of Blue Waters Investment Company. Thank you for watching Open Talk. Have a good evening.